and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. The Supreme Court of India, while hearing the CJP protest case today, clarified that the states can withdraw cases against students and only drew exception for criminals spotted with serious offences registered against them. The Supreme Court also ordered for segregation in cases against students and gundas and also called for action against both officers using excessive force and criminals taking part in the protests. Finally, the court also indicated the forming of a high-powered committee to examine all cases and also indicated laying down protocol on the use of pellet guns. The CJP welcomes the Supreme Court's directions and called on the government to immediately withdraw all such cases. While this happened, another video accessed by NewsX showed Delhi police officials in conversation with the CJP members, warning about the infiltration in the protests and also advising them to issue IDs to their volunteers to segregate students from others. I am right now being joined by Vaishnavi Gaur, who is a CJP spokesperson. Vaishnavi, thank you very much for speaking to us on NewsX. And my first question about whether the Supreme Court clarification on the expression criminal antecedents now reassures the CJP.
No, absolutely it does. And we've also clarified that the Supreme Court verdict that came today, it makes it easier for the government as well as other political commentators who are using the order as to bypass what the union government had assured us, given us in promise on the 25th. So the court itself has clarified it, and we're hoping that the BJP-led NDA governments and all the states will be withdrawing all the FIRs on the protesters.
But Vaishnavi, I have a question. Why was there a confusion within the CJP on the first order that was made by the Supreme Court, withdrawing of the FIRs against students and protesters who did not have the criminal antecedents? As per me and anybody else who actually read the order, it was clear as crystal that yes, there will be FIRs that would be withdrawn against students and other protesters, provided they did not have criminal antecedents. There was also an order that was pushed by the Supreme Court that there would be a high-powered committee that would be formed to probe the alleged excesses by the police as well as the criminal antecedents and criminal activities that were conducted by these individuals under the garb of peaceful protests at the Jantar Mantar site. So, why was there a confusion in the first place?
I don't think so. It's right to say that there was a confusion within CJP. I think the confusion was with the government, because when we were negotiating with the government officials, they gave us that the Supreme Court order is a reason that we cannot go beyond judiciary. And I've been on a multiple debates. This idea that Supreme Court order will stay and the 25th promise cannot was reverberated across the news channel. So I think if NewsX already had that understanding, it should have been probably made more clear to the government rather than the CJP, because our stance was simple, that what has been promised to us on 25th should be delivered. Now, one word, when you say criminal antecedents, this was right now in today's order, it has been very, very clearly defined, but that day criminal antecedents itself is a very broad term, even legally. And if you see what Delhi police did, they came after one of our most prominent student activists, Aisha Ghosh, in a 5-year-old case. Now you can actually say that she is one of the criminal antecedents just because she had some protest-related FIR 5 years ago. Today, the Supreme Court has identified and clearly defined that criminal antecedents mean murderers, rapists, and other heinous crimes, not someone who maybe have some, protest or something other FIR. So that was the main clarification that was required, and it was given today, and we're happy that this has come.
Okay, so do you see that the government promise that was made on 25th of July and the Supreme Court order that came a few days ago was not in sync with the promise that was made? Because that is what the CJP has been crying out loud for so many days. And why do you feel it was different?
No, it was not in sync, simply because of the actions that Delhi police took right after the order. And it was the FIRs came up. The FIRs were being filed again and again, even though after 25th, it was clearly indicated by the government of India that there will be no FIR on protesters. Across Delhi, across West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, you name a state, there were FIRs being filed. So there was no sync. The union government also did not oppose when the PIL was filed in the earlier order, right? Now, of course, it is in sync. The union has also reassured us. We are meeting their officials regularly. They have reassured us that they are completely on our side. They will take back the FIRs. Now, the matters of execution, implementation of the order, we will look after that. We will see how it pans out.
Okay, and during the time that the Supreme Court order actually came out, and even before that, after the promise that was made by the government to the CJP representatives who met JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh, there were a lot of reports that were coming from different parts of the country that there has been a withdrawal of the FIRs against the protesters. Have you also gone to certain police stations where the police was hesitant in withdrawing the FIRs?
Yes, there were, like you said, there were news that there were withdrawing cases. There were also news that new FIRs were being filed. For instance, Ruchika Sharma was a 15-year-old whose age was masked as 25-year-old. FIR was being filed, but our legal team, Ratna, Saurav, they have been consistently going again and again, at least in Delhi, especially in Delhi, to Delhi police stations. And what we have seen was there was a hesitancy in Delhi police because they were themselves not clear whether they have to take back, whether they have to withdraw, or whether they have to continue in the FIRs being filed. So there was a sort of, the promise was given to us, but the execution was far delayed, which we were very upset about.
Okay, I do want to know from you about the comment that has also been made by Taslima Nasreen just a while ago, comparing the Jantar Mantar protests to the students' uprising in Bangladesh, which led to the ouster of the then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, and she says that these protests that the students' protests were taken over by Islamist fundamentalists and jihadis. How does the CJP react on it?
It's funny, that's it. I don't think so. We need another national who's out of her own country to comment upon our domestic politics, first of all. Second of all, the number of youth, are you saying that all of them were Islamist, fundamentalist, jihadis? I don't even know the term. And if they were, then the Home Ministry should answer. I mean, this is implying that the Union of Government was sitting with Islamist fundamentalists, negotiating, instead of your own citizens. This kind of narrative is exactly the narrative that isolates, that pushes the Gen Z, that pushes the young generation away from you. Because you're again tagging them. They came up with a problem. They have, again, in Jharkhand as well, right now there are protests going on because the examination system in this country is completely broken. This is a very valid issue that students have come up to. They have come up to their government. The government is the only outlet they can, resurface their anguish against. And to label them as Islamists, jihadists, this is the most baser kind of narrative that we're resorting to, and I would hope that nobody disrespect our
Who are
youth
they?
like this, to be very honest. They, like Taslima Nasreen, other political commentators who I see a lot on Twitter, and some media channels as well, who were mocked as Godi media in the protest.
Okay, also, there has been a major outreach initiative that has been made by RSS's Mohan Bhagwat. He will be speaking to 2,000 teenagers, sending a clear signal that RSS wants to engage with the country's youth, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha. He's in fact said that, it is important to hold dialogue and discussion. There should be no dictation but discussions, not orders but consensus. Do you appreciate the effort that is being made by the RSS in having this interaction, having this dialogue with the youth of the country?
I can't comment upon it until I see it. I hope that it becomes a discussion and not a dictation. From what I have seen, there was some BJP conclave that was happening. There was someone, I think, I forgot the politician's name, who was again saying the same thing, ki all of these protesters were jihadists. So I hope that next action that they take is a discussion and not a dictation, not labeling, not mocking, not bullying teenagers, 15-year-old girls, not doing that. I would appreciate if they don't resort to that.
Okay, all right. Thank you for joining us, Vaishnavi Gaur, and speaking to us on